The moment I stopped caring for people to understand me or see me a certain way is when people started understanding me and seeing me the way that I wanted them to. I know we all talk about detachment, but I just didn't really understand it, if I'm being honest with you. There were certain parts about detachment that honestly just felt like giving up, and I wasn't ready to give up on certain things. I'll give you an example so it's not so vague. There were certain things transparently in my marriage that I just didn't feel understood by him. Part of that is because he didn't get to meet my dad, and my dad was such an integral part of who I ended up being and the things that I care about. So I spent like the first couple years of my marriage kind of trying to get him to understand me, and then I'd always feel so disappointed when I just felt like he didn't completely get it and that he didn't completely understand why I cared so much about certain things. And this started way before my marriage. Like, I am somebody who in the past was obsessed with feeling understood, and it's funny even saying it out loud right now because it would end up just manifesting in a lot of feelings of being misunderstood and that people just didn't get me. And looking back now, I'm kind of laughing at myself because that's what I was focused on. I was focused on misunderstanding. And so I was creating more misunderstanding. I cannot point to an exact moment, but I know it was literally in the past year where I just threw my hands up in the air, and I didn't give up. I want to explain the difference. It feels a little bit like giving up. Detachment and giving up have a little bit of similar energy, but they're not the same. But I threw my hands up in the air and I'm just like, I honestly don't care to be understood anymore. I just didn't. I didn't care. It might also have been me just feeling like me understanding me is good enough, but whatever it was, it just led to this new energy of me not trying to over-explain myself and me truly being okay with even someone as close and intimate to me as my husband, my life partner, not fully understanding me. And what that led to was I started focusing on all the ways I was understood by him. And I started looking at it as not this like black and white thing, but as this daily progress bar. Not that I was sitting there measuring it, but like every day I felt more and more deeply understood by him. We're also packing up our apartment, as you can probably tell, because we're moving into a new unit, and I'm thinking I'm gonna vlog this. So when it comes to the difference between detachment and actually just giving up, the main difference is when you give up, you kind of feel sorry for yourself. The story that you tell yourself is not from a place of empowerment, it's from a place of defeat. That's literally the definition of giving up. You got defeated and you just don't have the stamina or energy to continue trying, but you're still dying for that thing. You just felt like you had to give up on it. That is not the energy that is going to attract what you want. In fact, that energy is just going to create this victim narrative for you where you're just like, woe is me. I wanted to be an actor, but I had to give up. It was too hard. Because at some point, you got to pay the bills. And at some point, you have to focus on family. One thing that I've always been at the brink in the past of giving up on was my body goals. Like, woe is me. I try so hard. I'll probably make a whole video on that later because I've come to a new understanding of why I wasn't losing weight, and it was a lot more mental than it was physical. I'm always coming to new understandings, but I've reached like a breakthrough, and it's a really funny breakthrough. But anyway, I'd get to the point where I'm like, this is so sad. Should I just give up and just, live with my life this way? Like at some point I need to just continue life and not let this thing consume me. And I think the other main point to point out here is when you give up, you don't actually really accept your reality. You're just no longer wanting to invest the energy to create the reality that you're still very much so dreaming about and the one that you really want. Detachment, I'm learning, on the other hand, is actual acceptance of your reality. You're like, honestly, I don't really care anymore. Detachment, at least for me in this example of like trying to get everyone to understand me, is just accepting that like me understanding myself is enough, and also accepting and having faith that the right people will get it, including my husband. He'll get it when he needs to get it. If he doesn't get it right now, whatever, I'm enough for me. And what happens there is you're not giving up, but you are letting go. You're letting go of like the force. You're letting go of the desperation involved in trying to grasp at something in the moment that doesn't want to be grasped at. You're letting go of dwelling on a reality that you really, really want, and instead shifting your energy to appreciating the reality that you already have. And I think I got so good at that I almost forgot I was even doing it. It wasn't like this focus where every day I had to wake up and be like, remember, you need to detach. I think I just really had this shift where I'm like, I'm enough. My understanding of me is enough and I'm good. And then from there, almost instantaneously, it's kind of mind-blowing how it started to happen. Certain people in my life who I had previously craved an understanding from started having these like insane breakthroughs of like getting me and like telling me how they got me, including my husband. One time he like came to me, he came from an event and he came home late and he was like laying in bed with me and I was kind of like half asleep but also like engaging, and there was almost just this like outpouring of him explaining to me how he gets what I was saying all along and now he understands me, and this thing that he experienced really made him see me in a different light. And I honestly had a movie moment, like where I'm just looking at him and I'm kind of blinking, where I'm just like, is this real? Did I just manifest this? Is this like virtual reality, or is this a real person in front of me? I was kind of, I don't want to say in shock, but I was very amused, I think is the word, where I'm just like, this is what I've been craving all along. And it took for me to not really care as much about it anymore. Not to necessarily give up, but to just accept, like truly be okay with where things were at and understand that things will work out the way they're supposed to, for me to actually manifest the thing that I've been wanting all along. And I think the most interesting part about that is when it started happening, I didn't care as much. Like that detached energy stayed even as I was getting what I wanted. Like there wasn't this like, oh my God, I want to hug him and cry. And it wasn't this like emotional outburst that it probably would have been in the past had I gotten what I wanted. Like the energy was very much so, I don't want to say stoic. It was just very calm and like almost like I was good regardless, but it's very beautiful and nice that this is happening. Like I definitely felt grateful, but it's not like I felt like a void was filled. I didn't feel like a void was filled, because I think part of detaching is filling that void with things that matter in the moment that you have right now, so that when you do attract the thing that you actually are wanting, it's not this desperate thing that you need. You don't need it to like fill the space that is suffocating you without it. You actually feel whole with or without it, so that when it comes, you actually are able to observe it from a place of just pure gratitude and happiness and awe. As I'm saying this, I'm even reflecting on other areas of my life where I'm not practicing this. There are some things, especially with my career with YouTube, that I really want, and I don't think that I'm in a place of full detachment. Like I definitely am not in a place of wanting to give up. I have so much energy and I love doing this, so I don't want to give up at all. And honestly, this is one area that I know I'll never give up. But I do feel like I want it too badly. And I do feel like I'm wanting it to fill a void that might not actually be healthy. So even as I'm saying this to you, it's like, I want to go journal and reflect on the ways that I'm probably pushing away the things that I want, because I don't know that I'm in a place right now to just fully accept where things are at. There's something about that that scares me. There's something about that that feels like complacency, even though it's not complacency. Like on a rational level, I can describe to you how when you accept where things are, so let's say you're single, let's say you're unemployed, let's say maybe you're sick or you're having mental health issues. When you accept where things are, it feels terrifying to you, because it feels like you are giving up. It feels like you're complacent. It feels like in order to accept where this is, you have to want this forever. But that's not true. You don't want this forever. Acceptance isn't about saying that this is going to be your reality forever. Acceptance is about understanding that there's something to be present in. This is something worth being present in. Yes, even a mental health crisis. Trust me, I just got out of one, so I'm not speaking from inexperience here. Even something like grief that I've gone through, I was able to understand in that moment that there's something about this that I should be grateful for, because it's teaching me something, even something as brutalizing as grief. So regardless what condition you're in right now, regardless what it is that you're going through, acceptance doesn't mean throwing your hands up in the air and saying that this is always how it's going to be. Acceptance is getting your energy to a place where you're not trying to get the next thing through a place of desperation, because you're actually okay with how things are right now. you're actually okay with being present and still in whatever this period of your life is trying to teach you, because there's always something to learn. I always tell you guys, I pride myself on taking my own advice. This is an example where I don't think that I've mastered the art of detachment. I'm working on it, and there are certain areas of my life where I have mastered it. And not ironically, very not surprisingly, those are the areas of my life where I've gotten what I've wanted. It's insane. But the areas of my life where I don't have what I want, I'm able to do a little audit and be honest with myself. Like, you're not detaching though. I've been able to manifest my dream relationships, not just with the person that I found, because it doesn't start and end there. There's a lot of investment and work and communication and growth to be done after you found the person. But even outside of Ahmed, like my family, people in my life that I just love so much, I've been able to detach from how those relationships need to look, of trying to control what those relationships are and are not, of trying to control how those people see me. And as soon as I did that, I started seeing things play out the way that I've always wanted them to play out. And when that happens, there's almost this like laugh where you're like, you mean to freaking tell me that the answer was trying less? That the answer was not trying to work as hard and force things? Like, I could have just genuinely relaxed a little bit and I would have gotten the thing that I've been dying to get. That the answer was that I needed to just stop dying for it, and then it would actually come knocking on my door and insisting on being part of my life. I want to leave you with that, because it's just such a hopeful message that things don't need to be hard. Things don't need to be mentally exhausting for them to happen. You don't need to try so hard. You just need to be present. And that is advice that honestly, as soon as I'm done packing up some stuff, I'm going to go journal about, because I want to be more present. There's so much beauty around me. There's so much exciting stuff happening, like with this new apartment that we're about to design, and we've ordered new furniture, and I'm so excited to show you guys what we have going. With this YouTube career, like I'm having so much fun with this. With my body goals, which I've been intentional of not talking about a lot or very explicitly, because I want to do the work behind the scenes before I come and tell you what I've been doing and how it's been working, but definitely stay tuned for that. With just life, like there's just so much beauty and excitement just begging for me to be present in it and to bask in it. And I can slam this on the table because there's bubble wrap on it now. I'm gonna get back to packing up, but let me know what this has brought up for you. I love you so, so much. And as always, stay powerful, my love.